VTV News. Trần Đánh Bấn elected as new National Assembly Chairman. And Mekong Delta region secures water resources. In our war news, Gaza Strip defending humanitarian crisis.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi. You're watching VTV News. The 15th National Assembly convened its 7th sitting in Hanoi on May 20th morning, with the opening session broadcast live by several national and National Assembly televisions and radio channels. More to follow.
Legislators are set to review and pass 10 bills, including draft amended legislation on social insurance, archives, and the organization of the People's Courts, as well as the laws relating to the defense industry, security, industrial mobilization, and roads. Also tabled will be 3 draft resolutions on piloting specific mechanisms and policies to develop the central province of Nghệ An and piloting a new model of urban administration and specific mechanisms and policies for the central city of Da Nang. In addition, there are proposals to revise the 2025 Law and Ordinance Building Program and adjust the 2024 program. The lawmakers will provide feedback on 11 bills, including amended draft laws on notarization, trade unions, and cultural heritage, as well as on geology and minerals, fire prevention, firefighting, and rescue. They will discuss issues regarding socio-economic development, the state budget, taxation, and the National Assembly's supervision work. They will consider investment policies for several major projects, among many other matters. The National Assembly will conduct question and answer sessions and review and decide personnel matters within its remit.
Previously, at the opening session, on behalf of the government, Deputy Prime Minister Lê Minh Khái presented a supplementary assessment report on the implementations of the Socio-Economic Development Plan and State Budget in 2023 and in the first months of 2024. He stressed that the goal is to coordinate macroeconomic development management policy closely, effectively, and harmoniously this year.
According to the report, Vietnam's macroeconomy was stable. Inflation control and stability was maintained during the first months of this year, despite many difficulties facing the regional and global economies. In the first quarter, Vietnam's GDP grew 5.66%, the best growth in the 2020 to 2023 period, while the Consumer Price Index CPI increased 3.93%. International organizations continue to be optimistic about the country's growth prospects in 2024. Despite the positive results, the government has identified several shortcomings: low credit growth, a large disparity between global and domestic gold prices, ongoing challenges to economic growth, and a slow recovery in the real estate market. The government will focus on 11 groups of tasks and solutions. Priorities will be given to promoting growth while maintaining macroeconomic stability, controlling inflation, and ensuring balanced economic measures. Going forward, the government will make efforts to develop culture and harmoniously link economic development with culture and society, strengthen resource management and environmental protection, respond to natural disasters and climate change, and ensure water security. It will also effectively implement military and defense strategies and projects, enhance defense security strength to firmly protect independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. Another goal is to effectively carry out foreign affairs and international integration activities, maintain a peaceful and stable environment, and create favorable conditions to attract resources for national development and enhance Vietnam's international positions and reputation.
The latest verification report of the Socio-Economic Development Plan and State Budget for 2023, alongside the first months of 2024, as presented in the National Assembly, underscored significant strides amid persistent challenges. Notably, progress has been made in public investment disbursement and transportation infrastructure development, laying the groundwork for economic recovery and growth. Compared to the previous report, several indicators have shown improved performance, including state budget revenue, trade surplus, and the attractions and utilization of foreign direct investment (FDI). However, the verification report acknowledges that 2023 economic growth fell short of target. The manufacturing sector witnessed a notable slowdown, while the service sector failed to assert its anticipated growth-driving growth. Moving forward, the verification report underscores key priorities in macroeconomic management to enhance labor productivity and ensure implementation of Power Development Plan 8. Monetary policy should aim at redirecting cash flows toward productions and business while lowering lending rates. Rising prices of essential goods, the shortage of drugs and medical equipment, and corruption are among the issues of voters concerned, according to a report presented to the National Assembly by the President of Vietnam for the Land Front Central Committee Đỗ Văn Chiến on May 20th, the opening day of the 15th Legislature 7th sessions. The reports say voters and people praised the party and state led by Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng for their timely and comprehensive direction over important national matters, and that people's confidence in the party and state has continued to be fostered. Voters and people expressed their delight at the year-on-year economic growth of over 5.6% in the first 3 months of this year, the highest first quarter increase over the past 4 years, with major economic balances ensured. They, however, shared the concern over the rising trends of business suspension and dissolution, increasing layoff, soaring prices of fertilizers, pesticides, electricity, and airfares, unsteady economic recovery, and the sluggish implementation of national target programs. Voters also raised the concern over the socio-economic affairs, healthcare, as well as highly valued efforts regarding the fight against corruption. Deputies to the 15th National Assembly on May 20th elected Trần Thanh Mẫn, Politburo member and permanent vice chairman of the National Assembly, as the chairman of the 15th National Assembly as part of their ongoing 7th session. Newly elected National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn vowed to be absolutely loyal to the fatherland, to the people, and to the constitutions of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, striving to successfully complete the task assigned by the party, state, and people at the solemn swearing-in ceremony in Hanoi on the same day. In his speech, Trần Thanh Mẫn thanked the National Assembly deputies for trusting and electing him chairman of the legislature, saying this is a great honor but also great responsibility. He pledged to do his utmost to promote the good traditions and achievements of the National Assembly through the ages and continue to improve the quality and efficiencies of the legislative operations for the ultimate goal of serving the interests of the nation and people and for the happiness of the people. A total of $3.3 billion was saved in the state budget last year, according to a report on practicing saving and combating waste in 2023, delivered to the National Assembly session in Hanoi on Monday. Minister of Finance Hồ Đức Phước said that nearly 9,000 legal documents have been issued to promote the improvement of institutions and policies to remove obstacles. Public debt in the end of 2023 is estimated at 37% of GDP. Government agencies have trimmed 17 general department level units, 154 department level units, and 108 division level units. Localities have reduced more than 2,500 units at departments and division levels. The government ministries, branches, and localities have also focused on promoting public investment, effectively using state access, mineral resources, and promoting administrative procedural reform. This year, the Prime Minister issued a comprehensive program which requests plans to fulfill saving goals in specific fields. Minister of Finance Phie stressed the need to strictly abide by legal regulations on handling violations by heads of agencies, units, and individuals that cause waste. Prime Minister Phie on May 20th received Nagavarama Narayana Murthy, co-founder of Phie, one of the biggest IT companies in India, welcoming Narayana Murthy, who is also former chairman of Infosys, to Vietnam to work with Vietnamese partners. Prime Minister Phie expressed his hope that Infosys will invest in and cooperate with Vietnam through specific projects and products on the principle of harmonized benefits and share risk. He wished India in general and Infosys in particular, as well as Narayana Murthy, an Indian expert, support Vietnam in mobilizing resources, especially in public-private partnership, to develop the information technology sector, software industry, artificial intelligence, and semiconductors. For his part, Narayana Murthy said that India has developed the information technology industry very early, and Vietnam also has world-class technology enterprises such as FPT. This is a favorable foundation and environment to promote technology cooperation between the two countries. He noted, believing that Vietnam will reap greater success in the software field. During a dialogue with the Vietnamese information technology industry aimed at promoting innovation and new technology trends, Indian billionaire Narayana Murthy expressed his belief that Vietnam's emergence of world-class technology enterprises lays the foundations and environment for fostering technological collaboration between the two nations. Narayana Murthy is renowned for pioneering a global information technology service delivery model and founding Infosys, a top-ranking global IT services company valued of over $70 billion. And to further explore this topic, our VTV reporter sat down for an interview with the billionaire. And now let's listen in.
Thank you very much for the time with VTV as a pioneer in the IT industry.
So what do you look forward to when visiting Vietnam, and how do you see the opportunities and business here in the IT industry?
Well, right from my youth, I have always admired Vietnam. It belongs to a group of very few nations in the world that have shown success in multiple areas. You have done spectacularly well in terms of your GDP growth. Per capita GDP is pretty impressive. So there are lots of foreign investment in this country. Companies like FPT have created a large number of jobs. I do believe that FPT will become a very important part of the future growth of Vietnam. FPT has achieved a revenue of more than $1 billion last year, and they have achieved it in 24 years. My own company achieved it just around the same number of years, 23. That gives me confidence that FPT will reach much bigger targets in the coming years.
I'm so curious that in the era of the digital transformation and application now, what do you think about Vietnam's potential in making its name in the global high tech?
Well, today is the era of digital transformation. Countries like India have done a very good job. Their Aadhaar, which is the unique identity system. Their work in the area of ONDC. ONDC stands for Open Network Digital Commerce. Though particularly ONDC is laying the foundation for the power of e-commerce to be available to anybody. So therefore, cooperation between countries like India and Vietnam in leveraging the power of ONDC, leveraging the power of digitalization, I think these are areas where I think both the countries can benefit immensely.
Once again, thank you very much for the time, giving me a chance to speak.
Coming up next on VTV News, Quảng Ninh border guards take measures to prevent IUU fishing. And Mekong Delta region secures water sources. In order to remove the yellow card placed by the European Commission's EC on IUU fishing, the Quảng Ninh Provincial Board Unit and the fisheries sector have taken drastic measures and mobilized troops to respond to situations at sea and conduct patrols to prevent trawlers and fishermen from illegally fishing in foreign waters. Join us in the following story in the northern islands of Cô Tô.
During their sea patrols, Cô Tô border guard officers regularly distribute leaflets and disseminate laws and instruct fishermen about the regulations on preventing IUU fishing. They also resolutely handle violations.
The border guards disseminate laws and encourage us to follow the regulations. Thanks to them, we all have a better understanding of the laws and regulations.
Since last year, the unit has arrested and handled 45 cases with 45 subjects and 45 vessels violating regulations. We worked closely with the local authorities to restrict any vessel and disconnect its monitoring system for more than 10 days.
THANH Island is less than 5 kilometers from the demarcation line of the Gulf of Tonkin. This is the traditional fishing ground of fishermen in the northern region. Local officers and soldiers regularly conduct patrols, medical examinations, and medicine distribution, and also instruct fishermen about regulations to prevent IUU fishing. Most vessel owners have been asked to sign a commitment not to violate IUU regulations.
The border guards help us to understand the regulations and our responsibility whilst fishing at sea.
Fundamentally, vessel owners have had positive changes in their awareness. Basic paperwork procedures have been largely completed. We have not been detected in violations in recent times.
The authorities also provided the relevance contracts to fishermen so that they can promptly be informed about violations or cases where they may need rescue.
The Mekong Delta is a region very vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. 95% of the region's water resources are provided by the upper Mekong River, with only 5% being endogenous. Most of this water flows into the sea. Therefore, preserving water for the Delta is both an urgent and long-term task, especially during the dry season.
The Mekong Delta is highly susceptible to climate change. It relies significantly on the upper Mekong River for 95% of its water resources, with only 5% being locally sourced. Much of this water drains into the sea. Hence, safeguarding water for the Delta, particularly during the dry season, is both an urgent task and essential for its long-term sustainability. The area affected by saltwater intrusion is expanding. In response, Carmel farmers have converted over 40,000 hectares to rice and shrimp cultivation, with notably high efficiency. Nonetheless, the resultant damage and risks are substantial, with some years seeing losses of up to 50% of the area.
We have divided water resources into 3 production areas: salty, fresh, and brackish, appropriate for the impacts of climate change. This system would manage both salt and freshwater sources, ensuring adequate supply for each designated area.
The current water levels in the Mekong River suffice for safe irrigation across approximately 700,000 to 800,000 hectares of rice fields. Thus, rice cultivation, coupled with green growth practices or the rice shrimp model, have emerged as preferred approaches.
Conserving water is important. This includes appropriate production conversion. It is necessary to retain the long-standing water storage resources in the Mekong Delta.
It's projected that the existing irrigation system can hold between 2.5 to 3 billion cubic meters of water. The Mekong Delta does not lack water. The challenge lies in retaining water for year-round use.
Every year on May 22nd, the world celebrates the International Day for Biological Diversity. It is an opportunity to highlight the crucial importance of biodiversity for the planet Earth and to raise awareness of urgent need to preserve it. At Vietnam Cà Mau Cape National Park, many efforts to regenerate natural forests are being carried out to preserve the precious biodiversity values of Vietnam and the world.
Discovering a part of the enclosure fence was damaged. Staff of the Cà Mau Cape National Park reinforced and repaired the damage during their patrol. This task is carried out all year round, but the peak period is mostly in June and July. This is the harvest season of Avicennia plants.
The plants bear fruits and seeds in August. We usually take this time to prepare, so they will grow strongly despite the negative impact of climate change.
These fences work as a technical measure to delineate and promote natural forest regeneration. Fences have been constructed since 2020. The area of natural forest regeneration has reached more than 600 hectares.
We built closed U-shaped fences to manage and protect the area as well as prevent people from entering the area to exploit aquatic species. It works as an indicator to let me know that in this area, the solution of zoning and promoting regeneration is implemented.
After 4 years of implementation, of the first 55 hectares of area for cultivation, 38 hectares have been chosen for forestry development. Compared to traditional afforestation methods, the survival rate of this method is lower. The zoned forest area is considered to contain higher biodiversity values.
Naturalized forests are a form of indigenous ecology as naturalized forests are home to many tree species and animals. Planted forests require attention. In the process of planting, we slow down the spread of invasive species. The quality of planted forests is definitely not equal to the quality of cultivated forests in terms of biology and environment.
Cà Mau Cape National Park is Vietnam's 5th Ramsar site and is recognized by UNESCO as a World Biosphere Reserve with more than 400 species, of which more than 40 are rare species threatened with extinction. The zoning and promotion of natural regeneration of mangrove forests helps preserve habitats, expand the habitat of endemic creatures and, thereby, preserve biodiversity values of Vietnam and the whole world.
Coming up next in our war news, Gaza Strip deepening humanitarian crisis. And IS claims attack in Afghanistan that killed 3 Spanish citizens and 3 Afghans. Acting State President Võ Thị Ánh Xuân and Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính on May 20th sent condolences to Acting President of Iran Mohammad Mossadegh over a helicopter crash on May 19th that killed Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi, Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdollahian, and some senior officials. National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn extended condolences to Speaker of the Iranian Parliament, Malik Mohammad Banker Ghalibaf. On the same day, Foreign Minister Bùi Thanh Sơn also sent condolences to Iran Acting Foreign Minister Ali Bagheri Kani. Israel's decisions to increase attacks on the city of Rafah and many places across Gaza is pushing hundreds of thousands of Palestinians into tragedy. No shelter, no access to clean water, and no necessary medical supplies has resulted in many Palestinians living in severe poverty. According to statistics, since the conflict broke down last October, nearly 2 million people in Gaza have had to relocate and find shelters. The international charity Oxfam recently warned about a disease outbreak in Gaza this summer, along with an estimated $210 million worth of damage to water and sanitation infrastructure. The people in the Gaza Strip are also facing famine when food supplies are running out and the distribution of relief goods faces many difficulties. The self-proclaimed Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for an attack on foreigners in central Afghanistan last week, in which 3 Spanish citizens and 3 Afghans were killed. The Islamic State group claimed its fighters used machine guns to shoot at tourists who were Christians and Shia Muslim in the city of Bamiyan. The group claimed this attack targeted tourists who were citizens of countries in the U.S.-led coalition fighting IS in the Middle East. The group of tourists were shot while shopping at a store in Bamiyan, about 180 kilometers from the capital, Kabul. Bamiyan is where the Buddha statue was blown up by the Taliban in 2001. The city is Afghanistan's top tourist destination. Living sustainably with minimal dependence on external supplies is an emerging trend in many parts of the world. In the following story, we will go to Hungary and meet families there who are trying their best to save on living costs and have a more environmentally friendly life.
These 2 Hungarian families are trying to live as sustainably as possible. 3 years ago, Laszlo Kamencii moved to a small farm in eastern Hungary with his wife and their young daughter. They raise livestock and grow their own vegetables. His family avoids using pesticides and use as little planting soil as possible to retain fertility. Kamencii believes that he must preserve this land for future generations.
We have not inherited from our fathers, but we have it on loan from our children. They will continue to look after it, so we try to live and farm the land in a sustainable way.
Kamencius has a group of people sharing the same living mottos. They often exchange food and other necessities with each other.
Sometimes we smoke it, sometimes we freeze it, and sometimes we slaughter a pig for filling to make sausages. So about 5 such pigs are sufficient for one family for a whole year.
There are about 1,000 families like Kamencii's family practicing a sustainable lifestyle. Akos Varga and his wife quit their business in the city 4 years ago and went to live on a farm in western Hungary.
We had no experience at all. We used to live in the city and we never did any gardening, but somehow we felt it in our heart that we really needed it to live this life.
Embarking on a completely self-sufficient lifestyle is not an easy task. Many households now live off the grid. They have to buy electricity and gas for heating. They hope to install solar panels and wind turbines to provide electricity. They earn less than $700 per month, and part of that money is spent on things they can't make themselves, like milk and sugar. But overcoming the initial difficulties, these families aim for a sustainable lifestyle and they are satisfied with their lives. They live close to nature and do not have to endure the pressures of life.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's it for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch the program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download a mobile application, VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.